Well, we're going to cross over to Davos now, where Iranian President Hassan Rouhani will be making comments shortly at the World Economic Forum. Let's take a listen to what he has to say. You're getting live pictures coming in.
Candid dialogue and compromises on all sides. Mr. President, it is with this target, forward-looking perspective in mind, that I'm particularly delighted to have you with us today. At a time of unprecedented change and uncertainty in many parts of the world, and particularly in your region in the Middle East and elsewhere, I'm referring also to Syria, I believe it is absolutely critical for the international community to hear your long-term vision for Iran and the Iranian people. Fully mindful of the challenges ahead, I'm convinced generating better mutual understanding is a key stepping stone for creating the trust necessary to realize the promise of the next months. Mr. President, in the framework of the spirit of Davos, I thank you for coming here, and it is now my pleasure to give you the floor to deliver your special remarks.
In
the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful, praise be to the Almighty God and the Holy Prophet of Islam. Mr. President,
ladies and
gentlemen, the World Economic Forum for world leaders and also circles of thought. This is a great opportunity for us to sit together and to think of international and global concerns where we can raise the issues we're facing and through exchange of views be able to kind of make use of better ways to run the world affairs. So from the same perspective, that's how I consider and look upon this forum, and hopefully I can carry the message of peace, cooperation, and the message is the message of everyone and people I want to convey to you, the world leaders, thinkers, and experts who have come together here at this forum. Respected audience, the way I view social and economic aspects and political issues is an outlook of moderation. This is the lesson I have learned from Islam, and I have applied it in my own political life. That's what I've experienced personally. On the same basis, I made the decision to run for president so that I will be able to put into practice moderation and prudence. That's the main feature and peculiarity of Iranians and the key to their success in the course of history. I try to, the best of my ability, to make this spread in the region and the world as far as possible. As I anticipated, with the blessing of Almighty God, the people of Iran also chose the same thing, and they want the materialization of the same. So both in the region and internationally, this choice of the Iranians has been favored, the first results of which you could see in the presence and starting of work of the government of prudence and hope in the past few months. Ladies and gentlemen, what happened the past 6 years in the world economy demonstrated the fact that nobody can live on his own. No country can be indifferently. They can never tackle their own problems individually. No economic forum can avoid performing their social performance and reach lasting stability, and no power can consider its dominance lasting and for good. The globalization this time is in the form of an economic world crisis. It showed that all of us are in the same boat, and if the sailors are not wise enough, we don't pick the wise sailors and skilled sailors, then we'll not be immune from storms and will be harmed. Then popular protests all across the continent show that economic policies need to see social justice and the interests of all. That's what should be considered, so that it could benefit everyone. Governments will be lasting, that will see the whole people profit, each and every individual. The Holy Quran has taught us that what benefits the people will last on earth. And this is what the holy verse says. So this is the moderate outlook I have. This does not belong to my country only. This is not confined to Iran. So it's a moderate Iran. It's based on prudent and wise and hope-inspiring policies with a future perspective, the world economy. That's the way anticipated, way beyond what is already anticipated. So in the policy making, it's not only the status quo and the status of the future, it's also a long-term vision that I'm considering, because the Iranian economy has the potential and capacity to be able, in the next 3 decades, to be considered as the top 10 economies of the world. This is our macro policy, both in our domestic and foreign policy. That's what we're pursuing. And to see that realized, we are really intent upon reaching that goal. During the time I have taken charge as president, all the obstacles, the social and economic obstacles, that we have tried to bring it under control and more clearly put the Iranian economy, in my opinion, is the closest, is the most congruent, and has the highest potential among the emerging economies. That's the way I look at it, and in the future, that's the way I see the future belongs to that kind of economy. Because my choice by the Iranian people was based on a democratic system, and today I have found the opportunity through aspirations of economic development and to try to improve Iran's foreign policy and relations. So I would like to announce that one of the main pillars of my government's policy is a constructive international interaction, and without international activities, creativity, equality, and innovation will not be possible. So the fact of the matter is that among the developing countries, as well as the Middle East region, Iran enjoys the highest rate when it comes to human development indices. So we will try our utmost to see this is a great national resource of ours to be tapped into in line with the progress and development of the country. To that end, the foreign policy of Iran also takes a step in line with making use of international resources for economic development of the country. My government is fully prepared to cooperate with all regional countries on a whole range of issues: environment, joint economic cooperation, trade promotion, fulfillment of the rights of Palestinian people, prevention of human disaster in Syria, the Persian Gulf, security, and also fight against terrorism and extremism. We are ready to cooperate in all of this and interact, and based on legal and lasting regime and conventions, hopefully we'll attain them. I hope that peace and security in the Middle East is contingent upon economic development, social and cultural and tourism cooperation, and valuing the private sector and the cooperation of the elites on the international level. And the crises that have started in the 21st century show that the economy is not necessary, is not enough for a better life for the people. Alongside the economy, it's also spirituality, culture, and moral values that the people are in need of. So economy without moral values will simply destroy the human environment. And instead of adding the satisfaction, it will change into a rat race based on avarice and consumerism that will destroy the human resources that they could share. So it's moral values that could set the stage for fervent cooperation between mankind and connect them together. It can also upgrade order and discipline, and it can make life more enjoyable. Respected participants, I, as the head of government, am fully aware of how far policy-making and stability and governance methods. I'm aware of its pivotal role both in the domestic arena and also internationally. This is a basis for us and fundamental value. So on the foreign policy front, and regional cooperation is of high priority to us. We are intent on having profound relations with our neighborly countries, with all neighborly countries like Turkey, Iraq, Russia, Pakistan, Afghanistan, the Persian Gulf littoral states, and also the Caucasus region and Central Asian countries. So we want to resume economic, political, and social relations. Political, international, and comprehensive political interactions will start. With European countries, too, we have had close trade and economic relations with the Geneva Agreement that's being implemented this week and the next future steps. Iran's relations with Europe will be normalized to the fully. And Iran's interactions with Iran and the U.S. has also entered a new stage. For the first time, the politicians of both countries have tried to settle the issues when it comes to the nuclear story. They have exchanged views and held consultations and deliberation, and they have made decisions. This is a major development in the post-Islamic Revolution era. The Islamic Revolution in the Islamic Republic of Iran is the result of over a century of freedom-loving campaign of the Iranian nation, and this nascent revolution is also rising up. So it's necessary for the U.S. administration to come to terms and understand the facts and realities of Iranian history, not in words, but also in practice. They need to get along.